The recruiting module of Lanteria HR makes scheduling, monitoring, and recording interview information easy. There's an interview calendar that displays scheduled interviews by month and day. If you click on an interview, you can see the details. You can also edit the details and fill in the interview form. To the left of the calendar, you have a list view of the candidate and interview information, as well as quick access to the interview forms. You can also schedule interviews. Both the interviewer and the candidate will receive an email calendar invitation when an interview is scheduled. Accessing and managing interviews from the vacancies allows greater detail. If we select a vacancy, we can see the details of the vacancy as well as the candidates already associated with it. Candidates that apply via the company website are automatically linked to the vacancy, but you also have the option of adding further candidate options from the database. You can also perform multiple actions against these candidate records, such as update their status, mark them as shortlisted, or view their interview details. For example, if we look at Linda Mason's interviews and select the interview that we're interested in, we can see the interview form and the results of that interview. Under the vacancy details, there's also a section to specify interview stages. This is where you can select what details need to be recorded against each interview. For example, the first contact for this position is to phone the candidate. So I've specified that we just need some notes taken and a pass or fail evaluation. As the candidate progresses through the selection process, the information recorded for each interview becomes more comprehensive. For example, the in-house interview includes a competency assessment as well as an overall summary rating. For the final selection interview, I've made a custom interview form specifically to direct the interviewer in the questions they need to ask the candidate. When you click on the details of each interview stage, you can see the current scheduled interviews and access the interview forms. So for example, we have Linda Mason with a scheduled interview. And when I click on the interview form, I can see the details of the interview and a link to the form itself. The hiring manager section is an example of a custom section where I have particular questions I want answered, such as what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses. I also have a competency assessment, and these competencies are essential for the job role that I'm advertising for. I also have assessment of the job requirements, as well as the section that I can add additional personal attributes or skills and a summary rating. So from this interview stage, you also have the option of scheduling an interview for one or multiple candidates. So we'll schedule an interview for Verity and Lewin. This is for the final interview stage. You enter a start date and time and an end date and time, select the interviewers, the location and the room, as well as nominate the interview type and specify the organizer. Once saved, the scheduled interview prompts email notifications to be sent to the selected candidates and the interviewers with calendar invitations. During or after the interview, the recruiter can complete the form. You can access the form from here. You can also access the form via the vacancy and the candidate details by selecting the relevant interview to the right of their name. And you can also access the interview form via the interviews calendar.